Hey folks, it's Cynthia here. So today I was writing the monthly energy updates for September, and I was experimenting with different ways of tuning into the energy and sort of bringing through information. And my spirit guides were like, well, do a tarot spread. So I did a tarot spread, and then they're like, well, did you do your astrology research? Double check the astrological calendar and see what events are happening on what dates and stuff. So I did that, and I was starting to get like some clarification, some messages, some things coming through. And then they're like, well, why don't you go ahead and do some numerology? So I said, okay. And so I went ahead and I did some numerology for general universal energies in the month of September for this year, which is 2023. And as I'm going through this process and I'm typing up, doing the write-up for the blog, which in the description box you can find links to the write-up. The tarot reading ended up being an audio track, and there will be a link to that as well. And right here in this video, I am going to focus on some of the numerological vibes that came through. So that's what we're going to do. We're working on September 2023 monthly energy update, and this is mostly using the vibes, a little bit of astrology, from the numerology of the month. And again, helpful links down in the description box below. I invite you to check them out. So September, the universal number is a 9. For 2023, the universal number vibe is a 7. If you combine those two to figure out what September of 2023 is like, you're going to find that it comes to a 7 vibration. And so this month we're working largely with a 7 vibration. And what that brings up is teaching, learning, philosophical exploration, or even metaphysical exploration, and wisdom. It's about sharing knowledge and taking knowledge that you have and putting it into action. Now, the general number of the 9 that is with the month of September, overall speaking, that's a humanitarian number. It is very much of a, how do I want to say it? Spiritual number. It's a protective vibration. It's the number of the mystic and the humanitarian, but they might be a bit quiet, or day to day kind of an energy. They might not appear in a lot of ways to have like a huge influence. Okay, they can, but the number vibe tends to be close to a little bit introverted or personal, and yet at the same time very much of a nurturer and a giver, and someone who shares. Very compassionate kind of a number. There's also a lot to do with like losses and gains that comes from the 9. There's always an ending, the completion of a cycle, but there's a transition into a new beginning. So with the theme of the 9 is let go of the past, because every ending has a new beginning. Astrologically, when we look at the month of September, it's mostly Virgo energy from late August through September until you get right around the autumn equinox, when the sun then goes into Libra, right? So you have this bookended by this fiery, passionate Leo energy, right? And outgoing type of an energy. And this very cool, calm, collected, peacemaking sort of a Libran energy, right? And so when you're looking at that 9 vibration and you're looking at that very large Virgo energy, they can tend to be very much of like the compassionate givers, but they can also, you know, have the internal focus necessary to explore deeper. There can also be a tendency to hold on to the past a little bit too tightly and needing to release that in order to promote healing, okay, whether that be physical, mental, or emotional. So this month in September of 2023, with that 7 vibration, we're bringing the wisdom aspect to it. It's about taking those lessons from the past and grounding them into very practical knowledge that's going to leverage you and move you forward. And this is, aside from Virgo, okay, set the astrology aside for just a moment, numerologically speaking, this is energy that everybody can experience on some level. Definitely important for us to remember. So we start off with that 7 vibration, and it's really very much about being centered and focused, recognizing our individuality. That's another thing about the 9 vibe, because of that compassion and that intuition and that nurturing. It can be very empathic number, and there can be a difficulty in separating out our own energy from other energies. And so there could be challenges to boundaries. One of the big challenges this month does have to do with relationships. That could be because Venus is coming out of its retrograde period and coming direct. That can be because Mercury, planet of communication, is retrograde. So those astrological influences can influence these vibes that we're picking up on. There's a need for peace, harmony, balance in all things, not just relationships, but within ourselves, where we're putting our time, energy, and attention, where we're putting our material resources, how we're taking care of ourselves, and how we're relating to all of the changes and the energies that have moved, all of the endings that have gone on. This is a huge time for letting things go and sort of cleaning up, even if we already did the work of like the let go, right? It's like cleaning up the residual energies. It's like you went outside and you did your yard work and you cleaned up, but then when you come inside, you need to clean up. You need to take a shower, or you need to clean your yard tools and then go inside and, you know, take a shower, clean up, clean your clothes, whatever the case might be, right? So it's almost like after the clear out, after the changes, after a lot of endings or new inspirations and new beginnings, right? Letting go of that and picking up this. There can be some residual energies that just needs to be cleansed up. So it's like after most of the work is done and we're finally letting that go, we're kind of wiping things up, we're sweeping things out, we're cleansing that residual energy. And so the first half of September can actually feel like this with these energies. There could be some more shifts and changes that come in the second week of September, but those shifts, changes, and opportunities are coming up to make sure that we finished the work, make sure that we closed the last chapter, make sure that we have grounded and centered ourselves so that we're seeing the opportunities and the resources or whatever energy is around us that could be available to us in order to leverage our next step. There's a slower moving energy. It's powerful, it's strong, potent, but it's somewhat slow compared to the fiery energies that we've been seeing. probably since July, because a lot of the 7 vibrations this month are actually going to be calling up the what's known as the 777 portal. So that would have been whatever started July 7th or thereabouts, give or take 5 days, through to now. Whether things were ending or new ideas were coming in or new opportunities were coming up, right? This month is really going to highlight some of those energies, because some of them were catalysts to spur you into action. Some of them are truly the solid thing that you're going to be carrying with you into the future, that you had to let go of other things for in order to pick it up, in order to free up your hands so that you could pick up the new opportunity, right? So what we're really seeing the second week of September, there's opportunities for more shifts and changes, although they could be a little bit more mild, powerful, but maybe not as swift coming, or have the urgency or the hesitancy. Even like the extremes might not be there. Powerful, but possibly quiet and subtle. And changes, opportunities, shifts, kind of tying up loose ends for certain things, or reassessing the priority or the value or necessity of certain things, and saying, oh, well, I thought maybe that would work, or I thought I wanted that, but as it turns out, I'm not feeling it anymore, or I don't see it fitting into where I'm headed or what I'm doing. And so there could be some of that sort of reevaluation and reassessment, which brings us to week 3, which has the energy of really communicating, expressing ourselves, balancing out the give and take. So there could be some boundary settings going on here. We're moving from some challenges on one-on-one interactions, and balance and harmony, to, okay, this is what I know I need to do, and I need to express that or communicate that to someone. We can also see an inspiration and resurgence in creativity, or creative problem solving, creative thinking, can come up at this time, or even that adventurous side of sort of being curious and experimental. I want to take a new approach on this relationship. I want to take a new approach with this situation. I want to take a new approach on this project. I realized that that wasn't working, or that might need to be tweaked. And in order to move forward, I'm thinking that this is where our next step is. So I want to experiment with this and see if that makes it a little bit more efficient, or if that, gets us more directly to where we want to go. So there could be that creative aspect there. And we're moving into some wild card challenges. The second half of September, it might be easy, smooth flowing, free flowing, easygoing energy, you feeling the momentum rising and things are moving forward, efficiently and pleasantly. And that's wonderful. There could be some challenges in there. That could be, minor annoyances to, wow, that's a big boulder. How are we going to handle that one now, right? The idea with the second half of September is to recognize that nothing is being thrown into your path to stop you from moving forward, or to stop you from pursuing that goal or accomplishment or milestone or whatever it is that you have your focus and attention on. It's to get you to remember that even though you're feeling the momentum picking up, you need to keep the mind and the soul, the spirit, the emotions balanced and centered. You're walking into Libra energy, and October is going to be holding some even stronger energies astrologically with the eclipses and things like that. So you want to remember to stay focused. You want to remember to stay centered. You want to remember to stay calm even when the ride is getting a little bit more exciting or picking up speed. Okay? So whether it's, a good enthusiasm or whether it's a little bit of nervousness, we want to keep the calm, steady, centered sort of vibration as we move forward with that. So that's for the second half of September. And this can also be, again, with relationships in terms of balancing, give and take, balancing your time, energy, and attention for yourself and for other, whether that be a partner or family or friends or community or professional relationships, right? Balancing and making sure that your boundaries are communicated, not as in, I drew this line, don't cross that line, right? More so as in, I know where you are, I know where I am, and I'm going to respond honestly, clearly, and confidently about what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do, or what I need help on, and what skills that I think that you have that could be beneficial. Working together, teamwork. So it's a new approach to teamwork in a certain sense. And the last week of September actually doesn't repeat the first week of September, but it is the same vibration. And it's, again, everything that we've learned, putting that stuff into action. It's about being very practical, whether it be with our philosophy, our spirituality, our outlook into the future. It's about being very real with ourselves and grounded and honest, and being willing to listen as well as share. And the whole month kind of holds that energy of challenging us to respect ourselves and respect others' boundaries, and work on our relationships. So some major dates to look out for. September 3rd, Venus goes direct, and September 4th, Jupiter goes retrograde. Venus was retrograde through most of July, I think through the end of June, into July, and through August in Leo. It's now going direct. And the 4th, Jupiter, which is sitting in Taurus, will be going retrograde. Those 2 days, the numerological vibes of those days are very much focused universally. For you personally, it could be different based on your birth date. But universally, the energy vibes are focused on centeredness, meditation, taking care with our words, and making sure that we take a deep breath before responding to things, allowing ourselves to not feel pressure inwardly or outwardly to respond before we're sure that we're centered in a certain amount of love, trust, peace, calm, joy. So it's really about letting the influence of our spirituality, of our heart, of divine love, sort of speak through us or even for us. Not that we're losing our individuality in like collective unconscious, or that we're detaching from the person right in front of us, but rather that we're not letting our ego mind take over. We're putting spirit over mind, over matter. There's that saying I love, mind over matter. But what I love even more is that if you put your higher self, your spirit, over your mind, because the mind is supposed to be the communicator between the physical and the spiritual. So if you tune yourself in to your spiritual nature, then you have better usage, more efficient and clear usage of your mental capacities than if you just went about unconsciously. So spirit over mind over matter. And you can influence and change anything around you. Not necessarily bend another's will, but because that's not where you want to go with that, but to balance things out. So the 3rd and the 4th, as Venus goes direct and Jupiter goes retrograde, certain mountains will turn into molehills. There could be a couple of things that you thought were molehills and you find out that they're actually mountains or icebergs. You know, you see this part of the iceberg above the ocean and there's this whole huge mountain of ice underneath, right? So there's that energy, and you kind of want to be, there's a need to be open to possibilities. There's a lot of meditation and self-reflection that could be in those energies as well. The 14th and the 15th are the next couple of really interesting days this month. The 14th is the new moon, and the 15th, Mercury, which had been retrograde since August 23rd, is actually going to go direct. So with these 2 days, again, you've got putting in the work, putting in the time to focus, put intentional order to things, and to express yourself clearly. So it could be a very sociable energy that you could be tapping into, wanting to reach out to certain people, or you might find a common ground in particular situations that I've been working on. You know, if at work, working on a project, couldn't really come together on things, now you might find that energy open up for you. There could be a creative inspiration, surge of energy that comes through. And again, it is highlighted by some more of that spiritual energy and taking care with our words and our communications and our perceptions of how we're relating to a particular person or situation. And finally, then, we come to the last 2 dates of the month that really seem highlighted. The 23rd, which is the date of the autumn equinox. That's also when the sun moves from Virgo into Libra. And that energy is going to be very similar to the new moon energy. So if something kind of gets a push forward or gets started right around that time, or an opportunity crops up right around the new moon time, you could find that now that the Mercury energy is direct the day after the new moon, that those couple of weeks until the 23rd, or that week until the 23rd, is actually kind of going to bring something full circle and really highlight that progress that's been made. And finally, the 29th of September is the full moon. This beautiful energy is the energy of September comes together with this energy. We have the vibrations of the 9, the 7, and the 2. The 9 being the universal September energy, it's the 9th month. The 7 being September 2023, but also the universal year 2023. And that 2 energy, which was our challenging energy of balance and harmony and one-on-one communications and interactions, potentially highlighting certain relationships or situations in our lives that need some attention, some TLC or some boundaries, endings and beginnings, but also settling the conflict within ourselves, which is a beautiful energy to be walking into Libra with. Because Libra, as much as they are the peacemaker, they also have to realize that is the peace within that allows them. They tend to be givers. They tend to always try and maintain status quo outside of themselves to make other people happy because they don't want the confrontation, right? But clearly, Libra is the voice of truth and harmony and peace and balance. They can steady a boat that's already rocking rather than prevent a boat that's steady from rocking. They're meant to be that center point of balance and harmony. But to do that job very well, they have to settle the conflict within, the being of 2 minds, or indecisive, or I can see so many different perspectives and nobody's necessarily right or wrong. How do we blend this and harmonize it, right? So that Libran energy has been, we've been working on it all through September in order to set us up for what's coming in October and even November and December. And definitely while the sun is in Libra. So the 29th, having these energies of September 2023, and they're also really strongly pulling, like I get this huge sense of there's a strong pull to whatever occurred for you, or even in general in the community, in your family, in your workplace, in your home. This really pulling forward energies, lessons, wisdom, patience, new beginnings. What is this energy? From 777 portal, which was the first week of July 7th, and right around there, give or take 5 days, okay? That energy feels like it's being pulled forward. It's either going to be worked on and put out into the world, so in terms of moving forward, or there's some kind of a completion around that, and finishing it up, and being able to let it go. So if it was a short stint cycle for you in terms of what you were working on, or if it's like something that kind of started to get stirred up and has been worked on since then and is really now sort of established, because with this practical Virgo energy, with this Mercury retrograde, with the Lionsgate portal from August, with the blue moon energy, with other energies that could have been flying around August and the first half of September, through most of September, since it's the 29th and it's towards the end. It's like the illumination of that full moon on the 29th, the clarity, the next step, the resources, the things falling into place and moving forward. So I hope that energy update for this year's September numerology resonates with you, or gives you some kind of insight or clarity, or even if you just found it kind of interesting and you think that that's really cool. So wonderful. Wishing you lots of peace and blessings and very happy September. I will hope to see you again very soon. And again, double check the description box below if you enjoyed this video, or if you want to know some more about some of the things going on. Check out those links that I've put there, and I'm wishing you wonderful peace and blessings all around. Bye.